Hey everybody, it's Cindy, Palm Springs Cindy. And I have just a fun short video for you today. And it has to do with this thing I'm wearing on my wrist. This was my ticket to Desert Trip, which was this weekend. And it was here in the Palm Springs area. And many of you, wherever you live, have probably heard about Coachella. And Coachella is held here. It's probably a good 50 minutes or an hour from where I live in Palm Springs. But for the first time, they had something called Desert Trip. And it is AKA Old Chella because of the venue. And they had Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney, Neil Young, The Who, and there's one other guy that came from Pink Floyd, was his history, but he's solo now. But at any rate, I just want to share with you the great time that I had, starting with how I look right now. Because, I was thinking, Old Chella, Rolling Stones, the Beatles, or whatever. And so I thought, I'm going to do my hair like up in a big beehive, which I did. And then I added my my long ponytail to my hairdo to just sort of jazz it up a little bit. And of course, it was actually the perfect hairdo because it was hotter than it could be. It was probably 100 degrees. And I was perspiring like crazy, but at least, my hair was up off my neck, so that felt good. And and I've got my big go-go earrings on. And then I also wanted to share with you this little necklace that I bought before I forget. Isn't this cute? I'm going to get up closer. I got that at Trader Joe's, at TJ Maxx for $25. So anyway, I thought that was really cute for $25, and I've really been wearing it and I've been enjoying it. Okay, back to Desert Trip. Well, first of all, you have to know I'm not a Coachella Desert Trip person. I'm 65, almost 66 in a few weeks. And, it's really out of my comfort zone. But I got a ticket from a lovely friend, and we ended up meeting at, we went really early. They didn't even start singing till like 7 at night, and we were there like at 2:30 or 3. But it was held at the Polo Grounds in Indio, California, big grassy area. And I just didn't know what to expect. But anyway, we all met at the big Hyatt Grand Champion Hotel out in La Quinta. And from there, we took an Uber, 4 of us. And the Uber took us to the Polo Grounds, which was where Desert Trip was held. And then it's like going to Disneyland or some big park like that because, they have everything pinned off, so you like go up and down this aisle, that kind of a thing. And so it was like a mile once the Uber dropped us off to get to the actual inside of the area. But they had lots of booths set up for food, different kinds of foods. Of course, bars everywhere. But let me tell you, one beer was $10. Speaking of beer, I have to get a drink of water. By the way, look at this gorgeous glass I have. I bought a set of these and another set that are even prettier at, I bought this set at a garage sale, and I bought my other set at a consignment store. And I've seen them both used on Mad Men. So I thought it was like he was drinking out of a glass, and I thought, hey, I have that glass. Okay, anyway, back to Desert Trip. So we get inside, and the first thing we did was we put down a big sheet, and we had brought beach chairs. So us gals put our beach chairs on the seat, and then we went up and we walked all around the grounds. We got a cold drink, we got something to eat, chit-chatted, wandered. Well, anyway, the first person to come on was Bob Dylan. By this time it's dark, and so he's on stage, which seemed like 10 miles in front of me. But then, of course, they have those big screens. They had one giant one in the front and one on each side. So Bob Dylan came on. Now, I don't know about you, but I remember Bob Dylan and his harmonica and his hat and his little, you know, ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. And he was just very monotone, but, you know, ooh, on the road. And so he was exactly like that. And it was like he sang one long song for an hour or over an hour. But of course I loved it because I just have memories of him, Bob Dylan, and his social conscience and his songs about civil unrest and civil rights and all of that, which are still appropriate for today. So anyway, even though he was very droning, his voice was still pretty good. And I have to say, you know, he is not young, and he did not take one break. I mean, you could hardly tell where one song ended and the next one began. He just started on again. So anyway, that, you know, so that was great. Then they had a long intermission, and people got up and wandered around and everything. And then the Rolling Stones came on. And I have to tell you that, now I have never been a big Stones fan. I was always a Beatles fan. And they were a little too raucous for me and my taste in music. But of course you have to admire their longevity and the fact that, you know, they are still going strong. And they blew me away. Their, Mick Jagger did everything I wanted him to do. He danced forward, he danced backwards, he danced sideways, he jumped up and down. He, you know, he was putting his hands in the air, totally off the beat of the song, and he just was fantastic. And I have to say, he has a very good singing voice. I thought it was mostly like screaming all these years, but they were fantastic. And he and Keith Richards, oh my gosh, he was darling. And he had his big bandana on, and it was like in the African colors, you know, dark green, dark red, dark yellow, but big wide, and his gray long hair, and he looked great. And they all had on these tight t-shirts. Of course, Mick Jagger's had the lips with the tongue hanging out, which is his symbol. But then they had these beautiful shirts on over their t-shirts that blew with the fans, the real propeller fans. And Mick Jagger and Keith Richards played towards one another and smiled and laughed and kicked up their feet and were having the best time. Let me tell you, they were rocking and rolling. They were moving, they were shouting, they were singing loud, and the music was loud, and I loved it. I was shocked at how much I loved it and how much I loved them. Oh my gosh. They played for a long time. I'm going to say 2 hours. And at first, you know, I was wanting them to play all their old songs, but they played a lot of songs I did not know, but they ended up with Satisfaction. And of course, you know, that's the one I wanted to hear. So anyway, it was so wonderful. Okay. Okay, then getting out of there and getting home was a freaking nightmare, but okay. Then I want everybody to feel as sorry as they can for me, because the next day was my very favorite was Paul McCartney. Well, I went to leave to meet with the group to take the Uber to the Polo Grounds, and we have a gate our driveway gate that you have to do a clicker, and it goes, it's motorized, and then click it and it goes back. Well, lo and behold, I got in my car and our gate did not work. It moved and then it stopped. And I didn't know what to do. I thought, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm not going to be able to go to the concert. So I fiddled and fiddled and fiddled with this thing. I mean, you would have thought I was a mechanical engineer. Is that what they are? A mechanic? You would have thought I was an engineer. I unscrewed and I wiggled wires and all this stuff. Well, all this took me a while. I was hot. Well, anyway, lo and behold, I got our gate open. So, but by this time it was really, I was running late. I had to call the gals and say, go ahead without me. And I thought what I would do is take an Uber and do what we had done the day before, but just do it on my own. And I started to do it, but to be honest, I'd never done Uber before. I'm like an hour away. I didn't want to do it by myself. I knew the drudgery of the getting to the grounds and the getting home from the grounds. And it was just more that I could handle. And I didn't go. And so I practically cried the whole afternoon because I was such a weenie that I couldn't do the Uber on my own. And I was supposed to go there and see Paul McCartney, who is going to be my next husband, whether he knows it or not. And I was not able to see him. So I was really so disappointed. But I'll tell you what I did. I was at church this morning and, I just had to let this go. And so I thought, I really felt like God spoke to my heart and he said, who's to say you won't have another chance to see Paul McCartney in a much better venue with a much closer seat to the front? And so, you just don't be so disappointed about that, Missy, because there is more time yet. And so I felt good about that. And then I came home today and I turned on YouTube and I listened to all of his songs. I watched the whole thing on my computer and sang along with him in my den, and I just had my own Paul McCartney concert. So, anyway, I wanted to share that desert trip was a true trip. I loved it. Just the one day that I was there was worth it. I met some lovely, lovely women who I went with and who became new friends of mine. And so shout out to Medora and Linda and of course to Andy. And so at any rate, I wanted to say that, I've waged war on my hair, but I really like this hairdo on me, although it's, kind of crazy. But what I've done is I've taken my sides and I've, of course, ratted them, hairsprayed them, done them up like this, bobby pin, and then see that I actually have two of these. I think I have the wrong one on. I think this was the one I wore the other day. But see how this has a little cap in it with these little clippies? And it has the clippies down here. So all I did was, I just put the cap right here. And so that's why I have it to stay in. But I think it's cute. And like I said, it ended up being comfortable for the day. So let's see if I have anything else to share with you guys. I don't think so right now. I do want to show you this. Is this the cutest thing you've ever seen? This is a lotus bowl and it's for yoga. It's like a yoga symbol. And this, my dear friend Maria gave me this soap from one of her vacations. I love it. I love it so much I don't want to use it. I want to marry it. And then I have this lotus bowl filled with these little feet. Aren't these adorable? These are made from lava. And when I go to Kauai, I get these. They're like $5 each. And I bring them for souvenirs, for gifts. And of course, I always have to get me some too. So they're just pumice stones. And I think they're so adorable. And I have them in the little feet here in my little lotus bowl. I actually was going to give this away as a gift, but I love it so much I just can't give it away. So I wanted to share this with you because this sits in the background of me. And so that's what that is. Okay, you guys, Thanks for listening to my excitement about Desert Trip, and until our next conversation. Bye-bye.